Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and today we're going to be going over the all-new 2020 Chevy Camaro 1LS. This obviously has the turbocharged engine, so it's very comparable to the Mustang EcoBoost that I just barely reviewed. Not sure if I'm going to post that video first or this video. But anyways, as always, we're going to do a quick walk around on the Camaro, then we're going to take it out to see how it drives. A huge shout out and thank you to the Larry H. Miller Chevy here in Murray, Utah for providing us with the Camaro. Check out their inventory in the link below. Let's get right into the video. Under the hood here of the Camaro 1LS, we have a turbocharged 4-cylinder. It's 2 liters in displacement. It goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 275 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. And then in terms of fuel economy, it's 22 around town and then 31 on the highway. So let's go over things on the front end on the Camaro. If I zoom out, we can go onto the hood. So they've got these really nice lines that go all the way up. The hood definitely makes it look a whole lot more muscular on the top end. I turned on the lights so you guys can see what they look like. I think these LEDs that come off to the side, I think it's actually a really nice look. You've got projector LEDs right there. Chevy bow tie in the center. Other than that, things are pretty simple design-wise up front. Obviously, they've got this kind of part coming down. Looks like a front splitter, but obviously it's part of the front bumper, and then they kind of got like the little venting right there, which is a nice little touch. But here's one more look at the front end. Around the side here, we've got two 45mm tires on 18-inch rims. Obviously, you've got the Camaro badge there on the side. Tire setup in the rear is identical, and then I'm just going to back up so you guys can get a full view of the Camaro 1LS from the side. Here's the key fob for the Camaro. You got a couple functions: your unlock, your lock, remote start, and then the trunk release. And I didn't say tailgate this time, so props to me. If we lock it and hold down the remote start function, it'll start up. And just listening to this, I actually just barely drove the Mustang EcoBoost. Like I said, I feel like this sounds better in my opinion. The other function is the trunk release, so press that twice. That'll unlock the trunk, but then you got to do the rest of the work yourself. So obviously you got to walk up to it, pick it up, and you can see the entry into it. Now actually getting in here, there's a decent amount of space. It's just getting stuff through the initial hole that'll be difficult. The loading floor is actually pretty low, and then there's this thing you can obviously pick up. I've just got to be able to get my fingers to slip under there, so got all that set up underneath. And then obviously when you want to close it, you just got to grab it right there, throw it down, good to go. Finishing things up in the rear, I love the styling in the rear, especially the tail lights. I know there's been a little bit of controversy over these, but in my opinion, they look really, really solid. So this particular model, no spoiler in the back. You still get the cool LED taillights, still get the cool looking exhaust tips in the rear. But other than that, things are pretty simple back here. And then here's a look at kind of like the 3/4 angle. We've got keyless entry, so one touch to lock it, and then press it again and that'll unlock it. We've got the door panel here in the front, and that's the only door panel because there's only 2 doors. But anyways, you got this padding here at the top, and they got this nice leather padding with the stitching at the bottom, window controls and mirror controls. You got the door lock and unlock, and then obviously one of the handles. Now we're gonna get in the front seats in a second because we're gonna head to the back seats first. Now looking at these rear seats, you can see that you've got kind of like that piping design down the side. Legroom obviously is gonna be a little bit cramped, but that being said, you can use this for extra storage, obviously, and if you have to throw people back here in a pinch, then you can. And there's a little storage space right there for your rear passengers, which is pretty neat. But other than that, I mean, it's the back seat of a Camaro. Not much going on. Now here is the front seat, and they got this nice stitching all throughout the cloth. Very well bolstered on the seat, and then more of that light trim. They continue that onto the front. Now you've got some power adjustment, so these are power adjustable, but the forward and back motion is manual in terms of like this top part of the seat. Pedal layout is just down below over here. Obviously you got your hood latch in that little area. Light controls are actually on the stock over here. Steering wheel is going to be manually adjustable. Other than that though, there's not much else. And here's one more look at the front part of the cabin. To start up the Camaro, put your foot on the brake, push seat, push start. Everything will light up. Gauges will do a slow sweep, and you're good to go. Now we've got the steering wheel here in the Camaro. We can zoom in. You got the Camaro logo there in the center. That is the controls for the center stack. We'll go over that in a minute. Phone controls, volume controls. You do have paddle shifters on the back of the steering wheel to shift the gears yourself. Cruise control on the other side. Obviously your favorite buttons. Stitching on the inside of the steering wheel. And then you got the leather that goes all around, and it's actually very smooth, nice to hold on to. You got your stock for your lights. also to flash the high beams, and then over there is your windshield wiper stock. We've got our gauge cluster here in the center. RPMs on the left side. On the right side, you've got the speed, temperature gauge, and fuel gauge just up above. And then you got those menus that you can scroll through that I was kind of showing a little bit earlier with a little pad. But I mean, just like any other car, it gives you different bits of information on the car, pretty easy to use. And I mean, there's nothing too crazy going on here, honestly. It's just like any other new vehicle essentially on that part. So we've got the center infotainment system here. Let's go over the back of the camera first. Pop it into reverse, and you can turn the lines on or off with that little button. I prefer them on, but the trajectory lines will turn with the steering wheel. I feel like the resolution on this camera is actually really solid. It shows everything really well. Just a good camera. Now with the center touchscreen, it's really responsive, has all the same functionalities like the bigger unit that Chevy has. You still get the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and if I press a couple buttons or slide, I feel like stuff happens pretty quickly with all the functionality on it. So Chevy's done a good job with this infotainment system, and then all the analog controls for it are just down below, so like your volume button, home button, all that kind of stuff. We have Chevy's cool climate controls where you twist this for the temperature. As you can see, as I'm twisting it, the temperature is changing, which I think is a pretty cool functionality. And obviously I just turned it on way too much, so now I've got to turn down the vent. But anyways, cool climate controls here on the Camaro. Now this is the whole center console area. This is where you're gonna store stuff, is the actual center console. Got a little charging station in there, cup holders right next to it. Kind of an interesting shape for an armrest. It's just like a giant L, essentially. This is your parking brake. These are your drive modes. We'll go over those in a minute. Stability control, and then this is the shifter for the 8-speed automatic. It is a console shifter. You can manually shift the gears yourself with the bump stick if you want, or you can use the paddle shifters, whichever you prefer. And then finally with storage, we've got the glove box. So nice stitching up above it actually. And then you just pull that little handle right there, drop it down. Pretty normal size glove box for the segment. Nothing crazy to say about it. Now we're back here to go over the drive modes. You can see that you've got your Touring, you got your Sport, your Snow, Ice. Those are the three modes that come with the LS. The Touring obviously is the comfort, Sport for sportier driving, and then Snow and Ice. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Now up top, black headliner in the 1LS. You've got your lights up here, you've got the mirror, and it has that little dimmer thing that I didn't know what it was like 6 months ago. But now I do. I've come so far because now I know that this is a mirror dimmer. Now wrapping things up in the interior with the Camaro, I'm sure all of you are wondering, how much does the 1LS cost with the stuff that this particular car has? This 1LS Camaro, with all the options it has, stickers for about $27,000 before any type of market adjustment, which, I mean, that's right in line with the EcoBoost Mustang that I drove earlier today. This, I feel like, has a nicer interior than it. A little bit less power, but it has a nicer interior, and it's also $2,000 less, so, food for thought. Let's take the 1LS out to see how it drives. Before we set off, let's talk about visibility in the Camaro 1LS. Visibility out the front is actually exceptional. It's really easy to see out of. Yes, the roof line kind of slopes, the windshield's kind of slopes and all that, but it's still actually pretty easy to see out of. Visibility throughout the mirrors and the side is also pretty solid. You can see that. Now through the rear, yes, it is a little bit cramped. That window, I wish it was a little bit bigger, but that's okay. And then throughout the rest of the rear, I understand, but at the same time, it's a sports car, so it's supposed to be in front of everyone else, so it doesn't matter what's happening behind you. Am I right? Wait, let's set off. Initially setting off in the Camaro 1LS, I'm going to talk about road noise and ride quality. Now, in terms of the road noise, there's a bit that comes through with the tires, a little bit with wind noise, but that's pretty minimal. You hear some from the engine, but not a whole lot. I'm actually going to pop it over into the sport mode now and see if that helps out if I hear a little bit more from the exhaust. But oh yeah, definitely hear more from the exhaust when you go into sport mode there. But that being said though, it's super smooth car, easy to drive. So we're about to make a turn up here at the light. The steering is very, very light, pretty direct to the point though. I mean, it goes right where I put it pretty much. The steering wheel is a smaller diameter, which I prefer on sports cars because then it kind of makes you feel a little bit more connected to the car, feels sportier as well. A big gigantic steering wheel is okay, but I definitely like smaller steering wheels like this, so I feel like it's perfectly suited for the Camaro. We're gonna get a little acceleration here with the Camaro. Yeah, and it gets up to speed really well actually. So I don't feel all that much turbo lag. It doesn't have that like boosty feel. It's kind of a little bit more on the linear side, but it's more than adequate power. I mean, in terms, I know that I was comparing this a little bit to the Mustang with some of the parts of the review. In terms of acceleration, the Mustang with the EcoBoost feels a little bit quicker, but they're pretty dang close. So let's sum things up here with the Camaro. What I feel overall on this car is this is definitely in that, you know, muscle car, pony car segment. This one handles the best. The Camaro just has this light sports car feel that the Challenger definitely does not have, and the Mustang's close, but it's not quite there. Whereas the Camaro just, again, it has this light sports car feel, and so if you like that feeling where you like something that's a little bit more nimble, a little bit lighter, then that's where the Camaro really shines. Obviously, exterior aesthetics are up to personal preference. I like how this new generation looks actually. But that all being said, if you're in the market for obviously a sub $30,000 pony car that you could have some fun with and then also drive on a daily basis, get good gas mileage, check out the new Camaro LS. There we have it, everyone. The all-new 2020 Chevy Camaro 1LS with the 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. As always, if you're stopping for the first time, please subscribe, comment down below what you thought, and then again, a big shout and thank you to the Larry H. Miller Chevy here in Murray, Utah for providing us with the Camaro. Check out their inventory in the link below. I'll see all of you in that next video.